Okay, so today we're looking at reciprocal trig ratios, or the reciprocal of the trig ratios we know. Let's just quickly talk about the reciprocal. So when you have a number and its reciprocal, if you look at this example here, 2 times a half would give you, multiply top and bottom, 2 over 2, 2 times 1, 1 times 2, which will give you 1. And that's the idea of a reciprocal in a number. So when you multiply a reciprocal by the number itself, you're going to get an answer of 1. Okay, so a half, 1 over 2, will be the reciprocal of 2. If I had 4 over 5 and I multiplied it by 5 over 4, that would give me 20 over 20 when I multiply top with top and bottom with bottom, which again, 20 divides into itself once. So 4 over 5 and 5 over 4 are the reciprocals of each other, because when I multiply them together, I get 1. Now, trig ratios also have reciprocals. And the names of the reciprocals are cosecant theta. Right? We don't call it cosecant theta, we call it cosec theta. That's its abbreviation. And that is a reciprocal of sine, which means that sine theta would be 1 over cosec theta, and cosec theta then would be the reciprocal 1 over sine theta. Okay, secant, which we abbreviate to sec theta, is a reciprocal for cos. So that means that cos theta will be equal to 1 over sec theta, and sec theta would be equal to 1 over cos theta. And then finally, we've got cotangent theta, which we abbreviate to cot theta. And cot and tan are the reciprocals of each other. So tan theta is 1 over cot theta, and cot theta is 1 over tan theta. All right. So how I remember the reciprocals are that, okay, well, with tan and cot, tan and cotan, they kind of do seem to link together. Whereas if you think of sine, which is reciprocal is cosec, and cos, the reciprocal is sec. With these ones, how I remember it is that the s's and the c's go together. So sine goes with cosec and cos goes with sec, c and s, c and s. So not the same letter, the c and the s's go together. That just helps me remember which goes with which. Okay, so if I was looking at SOHCAHTOA again, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. That means that its reciprocal cosec would have to be hypotenuse over opposite. Okay, because if you multiplied O over H times H over O, that would give you 1. All right, and then for cos theta is A over H, which means that its reciprocal, sec theta, is going to be H over A. And then finally tan theta, TOA, tan is O over A, which means that its reciprocal cot will then be A over O. Okay, so those are our reciprocal ratios, and you just need to remember which one goes with which. All right, let's look at some questions. So if we were using it in a right angle triangle, okay, so number 1. Let's call this triangle ABC, and let's make it a 3, 4, 5 triangle. Okay, so if I said to you guys, what is the sec of angle A? Well, the first thing we need to do is we need to name the sides then for angle A. So here in the orange, this for the orange would be the opposite. This would be the adjacent, and then the 5 would be the hypotenuse. Okay, so then I have to remember, what does sec go with? Well, it goes with, that's an S, so it goes with a C, cos. So cos, let's just write SOHCAHTOA. Cos is adjacent over hypotenuse, which means that sec has to be hypotenuse over adjacent. It's a reciprocal of cos. So then we'll go off to the triangle, and we're going to read off the orange sides. So hypotenuse 5 and adjacent 3. So sec A would be 5 over 3. Alright, what have I said? What is a cot of C? Now we have to label my size for angle C. So let's make this a blue angle here. So for the blue angle, 5 is still the hypotenuse because it's opposite the right angle. Sorry, I should have put the right angle in earlier. And then for angle C, 4 is the adjacent and 3 is the opposite. Okay, so the blue ones go for C. All right, then we have to remember, what does cot go with? Cot goes with tan. Tan, opposite over adjacent. So cot is adjacent over opposite, which then will be, we're looking at the blue one, so it'll be 4 over 3. And you can just read off your ratios as usual. You just have to remember which goes with which. Let's try one more. Let's try the cosec of C. Okay, again, C is a blue angle, so I'm looking at the blue O, A, and H. Cosec goes with sine. So sine is opposite over hypotenuse, which means that cosec has to be hypotenuse over opposite. Looking at the blue ones, 5 over 3 again. All right, we can also use this in our special angle triangles. So we're going to do this obviously without a calculator. So let's quickly just go over our little special angle triangles. Hopefully you remember them. These are my 90-degree angles. This is a 45. So this is 1, 1, and root 2. This is 60 and 30. And this is 1, 2, and root 3. So if I asked you to calculate cosec 45, we'd obviously be looking at the 45-degree triangle. Okay, so we've got to think two things. What does cosec go with? Cosec goes with sine. So it's going to be hypotenuse over opposite, the reciprocal of sine. And then I have to think about which triangle I'm using, the 45. So for 45, hypotenuse is root 2. Opposite here is 1. So the answer is just going to be root 2. All right, sec 30 times tan 60. Okay, so remember we're going to use different angles here. This is the sec of 30. So what do we remember? Sec goes with cos. Cos is adjacent over hypotenuse. So sec is going to be hypotenuse over adjacent. And it's going to be for 30. There's my 30 degrees. So this is hypotenuse, adjacent, and opposite for 30. Whereas tan is dealing with a 60-degree angle. TOA, tan is opposite over adjacent, and I'm multiplying these two together, Okay, so for the orange one, for 60, this side would be opposite, this side would be adjacent, and obviously the 2 would still be the hypotenuse. Alright, so let's do our substitution now. So sec is a green one. Hypotenuse, 2 over adjacent, root 3. Okay, tan, 60, orange one, orange sides. So opposite is root 3. And the adjacent is a 1. Okay, we're multiplying these. So it's 2 times root 3 will give you 2 root 3. Root 3 times 1 would just give you root 3. Then this is 1 term over 1 term. So I'm allowed to cancel those root 3's, which is going to leave me with an answer of 2. All right, final example of special angles. Let's try sine 45 times sec 45 over cosec 30 cot 45. Okay, so what I need to know are SOHCAHTOA. So that would be written on your page. You would write your special angle triangles. Sorry. Okay, 1, 2, root 3, there's your 90-degree angle. And you'd also remember that sine goes with cosec, cos goes with sec, and tan goes with cot. So those are all the kind of things you need to have at the side. Those are the things that you need to be able to see and use. Okay, so let's start. Sine. Well, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Sorry, that looks like an A. Okay, so in the 45-degree triangle, 1 over root 2. Opposite over hypotenuse. Sec 45, well, sec goes with cos, so that means it has to be hypotenuse over adjacent. Sec and cos go together, hypotenuse over adjacent, so that's going to be root 2 over 1. O, A, and H. Okay, at the bottom, cosec 30. Now I need to go into this triangle, looking at the 30 degrees, so this is adjacent, opposite, and hypotenuse. Cosec goes with sine, so this is going to be H over O. Alright, so looking at the orange ones, H is 2, and O is 1. And finally, cot 45, back to the 45, cot goes with tan, so this is going to be, tan is O over A, so this is going to be A over O. In this triangle, it's going to be 1 over 1. Alright, so now we multiply root 2 over root 2, or you could cancel them, it's up to you. And at the bottom, you've got 2 times 1 over 1 times 1, which is 1. Alright, so I'm going to cancel these to give me an answer of 1 at the top, divided by 2 over 1 at the bottom. So it's 1, change your division to multiplication, invert the fraction afterwards, and you're going to have 2 over 1, which is 2. Right, so that's using your special angles. Then finally, we can do it on our calculator. Now, if it says to 2 decimal places, you know you're allowed to use your calculator. And we have to remember, make sure your calculator is in degrees. Okay, your answers must be in degrees, otherwise they're going to be the wrong answers for school. All right, so let's start with a cot of 78. Okay, now you do not have a cot button on your calculator, so we have to change them to either sine, cos, or tan, so we use reciprocals. Cot of 78 is 1 over, and it goes with tan of 78. So on your calculator, you're going to use your fraction button. And you're going to put in 1 at the top and tan of 78 at the bottom. All right, so when you do that on your calculator, you should get 0,21. You just need to make sure that you can do that. You need to try it out, please. Okay, number 2. The sec of 36 plus the cosec of 27. Again, we're working to 2 decimals, so we're allowed to use our calculator. There is no sec button, there is no cosec button. So we're going to have to change them. Sec goes with cos, so 1 over the cos of 36 plus 1 over the sine of 27. And again, use your fraction buttons, put the 1 at the top, cos 36 at the bottom, fraction button again, 1 over sine 27. All right, and then when you pop that into your calculator, just want to quickly double check it, 1 over the cos 36 and 1 over the sine of 27. Okay, the answer on my calculator is 3,438, and I'm rounding to 2 decimal places, so I look at the third decimal place, and it's going to be 3,44. Alright, so that's about the trig reciprocal ratios and how to use them with special angles, how to use them in triangles, and how to use them on your calculator.